George Caldwell. You look out those windows and you can just about see that Tyler and Angelica have got in his car and are driving off. I mean, that's not terrible. Maybe you're a little concerned because, Angelica is suddenly driving off and you don't know where she's going, but, well, you tell me, do you trust Tyler? Do you trust that he's just taking her somewhere safe and not going to leave state with her or something like that?
I am concerned, of course, but I fully understand them both, and her in particular, for not wanting to be anywhere close to this place after what she had to go through, being singled out like that, and had the spotlight put on her like that in front of the entire town, basically. That must have been dreadful. Yeah, I understand that, and I'm sure that we'll be fine. I'm not sure if she's going to forgive me, though. It's my fault that we're here, after all. I mean, I really did think that this was going to make things better. I thought we were just going to have a nice, some nice family time, and yeah, it would have been the normal thing to do, to be here, all of us, I don't know, maybe the pastor will explain what's going on. I trust him. He's done so much good things for me and for my family. Maybe there's a reason for all of this.
Hopefully. Sadly, though, this is all affecting you a little, and I'm afraid you will have to roll your disadvantage.
That is an 8.
The thing is, though, you did bring her here, George. Your wife wasn't really on board, really, and even though your wife is the one who was the most agitated by everything, even this she was unsure of. She's always been unsure of coming to the church. You know why. That her job. She's always struggled to have faith and deal with some of the things she's dealt with. Some of the things in reality don't always gel so nicely with the way the good book presents things, especially the way Pastor Richard Ward presents things. Bring her here you did. And then, did you stand up for her? No, you didn't. Maybe all your life you've never really stood up for things you really believe in. Maybe there's always been things you could do differently, and you don't do them differently. And then you just hear this voice at the back of your mind just saying, and most of all, you've let down your family. You've let them down. You've betrayed your family. Who are you to even have a family, George? You lose to stability as your depression hits you very hard right now. What do you do?
I feel myself sinking, and I think to myself that the voices are right. Yeah, I'm a horrible father. I couldn't even stand up for my daughter. I let her be humiliated like this. It was me. It was my weakness. It was me being useless, just as always. I can't do anything right. I should be punished. Yes. That's the only way through this.
You barely even noticed that you suddenly gone into a little office. Just a little one, just through a door somewhere. You're not sure when you went through a door. You see Genesis looking a little anxious, Jessica as well. But there's sofas and a coffee machine and some guards. But then, as you snap back into what's happening in front of you, Pastor Richard Ward is gesturing for you to sit. George, my friend, you need to sit down. Let's talk. What happened in there? Wasn't expected, was it?
No, Pastor, that wasn't expected.
No, that girl, I haven't seen her before. I'm assumed, though, it was your other daughter, Angelica. Is that right, Genesis? Yes, that's my sister, Richard Pastor. I'm so sorry. No, you don't need to apologize. The fault is entirely mine. But you understand, it was a little surprising is all. Normally, when someone comes to church to ask for forgiveness for their sins, they want it. So it was a little strange that she didn't want forgiveness for her sins. You understand? I'm sorry for the crowd reacting the way they did, George, but, well, can you blame them?
We were just here as a family to try to have a time together. I know you just wanted what's best for all of us, but I'm afraid she wasn't quite ready for it.
Disappointing. Still, you and me talking now, and of course you as well, Miss Caldwell. No cameras. What on earth is troubling you, my son? Something is troubling all of you, I can feel it. What is it? Let me help. You've done so much for me. I just want to help you.
I've lost the faith in myself again. I feel myself falling into the despair, the despair I was in before I found you and before I found God, and my faith is being tested. I feel it, and I feel like I'm failing. I'm failing you. I'm failing the church. I'm failing my family. I don't know what to do, Pastor. I don't know what to do.
George, you're not failing anyone. You're here now, aren't you? So come on. It's not about you. I'm concerned about your family, George. Something's happening here. Genesis, come on, what's going on? You see, Genesis does look hesitant, and she looks at you and looks at her mum, and then Jessica says, Mr. Ward, we are going through a few things at the moment, but we wouldn't want to trouble with you. It's no trouble. George! You feel him put a hand on your shoulder and squeeze, very slightly. George, what's happening with your poor daughter? What's she done? Skipped school? Smoked a cigarette? Those aren't such bad sins. Come on. What's happened? Let me help you.
It's not my sin to confess. It's hers. I can't confess it for her. It has to be her.
You can't confess a sin to me that you know. That's a sin as well, George.
I am a sinner. But I can't do that to her. It is not for me to say.
He frowns. He looks to Jessica. I see. You don't trust me. I've failed you. It's real sad to hear, George.
No, Pastor.
Real sad.
No, Pastor. I'm sorry. Please don't misunderstand me. It's not. You haven't failed us. It's just that it is her situation, not mine, and I don't want to put her in a situation that she hasn't, chosen herself.
George, let's not beat about the bush. You are putting her in a bad situation. You are failing her right now. I'm sorry, that's the truth. You know that, right? You know something, and you're not telling me what it is, because you don't trust me, and you don't trust God. That's real sad to hear, George, but again, I understand. Free will and all that. He gestures to the guards and says, you're free to go. You can go home. And, I guess we'll have to have a call a little later because, we'll have to talk about those paintings you were going to do for me. I was talking to that man, the man who really liked them, but, well, you don't trust me, so I guess we better finish up business. George, finish up business? What does he mean? What? There's still a lot of money that you actually are owed for the work you've done, and suddenly that just pops in your mind, and you do see your wife as well looking a little confused, and you see Genesis kind of looking at you, pleading almost. What do you do?
And I know I will regret this, but, I mean, he's a good man. He's done so many good things for us, for our family, and all he wants to do is to find out the truth so that he can help us, so that he can help Angelica. She had an abortion. It's a sin, I know. And I want to help her. I think we all want to help her.
Jessica speaks up. My husband is right, and we would appreciate any help you have, Mr. Ward, but again, we are able to handle it. I'm able to handle it. He shushes you all, and he comes back and puts a hand on your shoulder again. Well done, George. That was hard, wasn't it? But sometimes, imagine how hard it was to tell me that. Can you imagine how hard it is when you're in front of God himself and you have to confess all your sins? That is a day I'm not looking forward to. Come now. It is a sin. but all sins can be forgiven. And remember, all of you, remember what I say, Genesis. What do I say? It's not always, fault. Exactly, George. Do you think I'm angry at your daughter for committing a sin? Of course I'm not. I'll tell you who I am angry at, though. The one who did it. This happened at the hospital? Gosh, I've been in some meetings with the local commissioner lately, and, well, I can tell you now, Jessica, this is going to be pretty bad for them. No. Mr. Ward, no, tell him, George, tell him. It didn't happen at the hospital.
No, she didn't say where she did it, just that it wasn't at the hospital. They wouldn't have done it there, not so quickly. It was somewhere else. It was some unsafe, unlicensed place. We were very worried. We want to make sure that she's healthy. You know, we want to take her to the hospital later to have her checked up.
Oh, of course, George. Oh my, George, you should have told me sooner. Why didn't you? This. Oh, this makes me mad. This makes me mad. Doesn't it make you mad, George? Doesn't it make you mad, Jessica? People out there not even legally doing it. I mean, granted, we're hoping to change that soon, but for the moment, it's still legal. I won't argue with that. I have met many meetings with the local commissioner and the local councilman, and, well, we are trying to work on that. But no. This is an abomination. Meanwhile, Tyler, you're driving in your car. Angelica is next to you.
I regret to admit it to everybody, but I actually have the same question that the pastor has. I want to know who did this. I think, I want to say for different reasons, but after what I saw in the church, I'm honestly not that sure anymore. So I have been using the guise of silence, just giving Angelica space to actually try to formulate a way to get to the question that I really need to ask. I don't think Angelica actually knows or can't remember who did this or where. The only person who does know is Emma. So we've just been driving along, no highways, just surface streets, the steady ebb and flow of traffic. I've been waiting for her to kind of find her footing after all of this, after fleeing from the guards and whatnot. I can't think of a way to broach this topic that doesn't sound ridiculous. I can't be like, hey, sweetie, did you go to like, instead of the hospital, did you go to like another dimension to have your abortion? Because that's probably not going to work. So instead, I have decided to take the angle of her own well-being, that I'm just going to straight up confess. Look, Angelica, I know what happened in the church wasn't entirely you, and you know I normally would never do this. I'm not the guy who goes behind your back, but after what happened, I was texting Emma about the thing, and she said it was weird, and she said it in a way that made me worry. Do you know what, I mean, I know that you were under anesthesia, but did something happen?
To be honest, actually, I'm not sure. And she kinda hinted something in the text yesterday as well. And I got this nagging feeling somewhere back in my mind that something was off about everything. But Emma wouldn't elaborate, so maybe we should meet up with Emma.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, we have to get to the bottom of this, right? I mean, I want to come up front and say this, so you don't freak out. I'm not taking your mom's side. But if something happened, we should know.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, there's a lot of things have happened since then. And that's just like, 15 hours ago?
Yeah, it's been a little bit
or
of
something.
of a busy couple days.
As you're saying this and revealing these things, there's then a slight feeling on the back of your neck, Tyler. And luckily it does come at a point where the traffic lights tell you to stop, so at least you're not driving. Could you please roll your disadvantage?
It's a 9.
You feel a presence, but it doesn't, thankfully, force your arm or start choking you, but you feel something come around you and just start whispering in your ear. What are you doing? Go back now. You had him. Kill him now. Go back, kill him. Get a gun, get a knife, burn him. I don't care, kill him!
I got on a 9. There's no amount of self-preservation or thought. So from Angelica's perspective, she just sees me just immediately snap out of the conversation like I'm talking to someone else, and she's just watching through glass. Like mid-sentence almost. There's a little pause where normally we would do a cute smile, and instead of going back to the conversation, it's just, we have to wait. You saw what was in there. You saw the things. It's not part of this.
Don't care, fucking kid, fucking you. As that's happening, your hands just start gently making a U-turn and driving back to the church. Angelica, you see Tyler starts saying something to himself, and then he's turning the car around.
Where are you
Not
going?
Talking to her, still saying, you don't understand. We have... Look, if I go back there and something goes wrong, you and I, there's not going to be a you. That everything that I've done so far, all the work that we've done, it's not going to come to anything, because if I go in there, he's strong and it's dark in there. And if something happens to me, something happens to you. You understand that, right?
He's nothing. He's nothing. You wrap your hand around his throat. Set him on fire. He set me on fire. And the voice just fractures in your mind. And again, while this is all happening, you just are driving the car back. Angelica, it doesn't seem to respond to you.
What are you talking about? Tyler, stop the car. Stop it now.
I don't think I can.
Yes, you can't. Tyler, you're just driving. Again, it's so easy. You realize as you're talking to him, you're not resisting at all, and you can't. Something has slipped into your body, and you are calmly driving back. At least, almost back at the parking lot now.
We're not going back. What do you mean there won't be a you left? What? Do you have a part in all of this? Is this... What the fuck is happening, Tyler?
Angelica, could you please make a straight roll for your own disadvantage?
And I think I'm a passenger in my own body right now, so if you're talking to Tyler right now, actually, Tyler's not the one who's talking back to you.
I rolled a 7.
Angelica, you are panicked and worried at what's happening to Tyler. It's very surreal because on one hand you're having this heated conversation. On the other hand, he's calmly driving the car back. There is no terrifying drive happening. In fact, as you are speaking, you're almost about to just park again. And then everything he's saying, what does he mean that there was something wrong? There wasn't anything wrong. And you just find yourself starting to recall what actually happened. Why can't you remember bits of what happened? And you just find yourself remembering the sudden flash of vision. You remember you were on the table in a clinic, but it wasn't a clinic, not really. In fact, wasn't it some sort of abandoned building? You actually thought it looked a bit sketchy, and Emma agreed with you, but she said the person, the woman, it was a woman, wasn't it? Yes, that's they needed to do that there, so you kind of let your guard down. But you remember, you were groggy, and Emma was carrying you. She was carrying you out, and there was the woman, the person who did it was sort of saying, you can't go yet, you can't, what, wait, no, it's not, I'm not finished. And you remember Emma saying, have you done it? And she was like, yes, but there are other, then cram it, lady. Then fucking cram it. No, you're done. We're done, Angelica, we're done. And you remember nodding and being in and out of it a little, and then you were in the car. And you remember Emma just being like, oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. It's just candles and shit. So sorry. How are you feeling? And again, you were just feeling very in and out of it. But you remember this very vividly. And you remember it so vividly that you're just sort of slammed back into your car seat almost. Like you just slump as you're remembering. How are you feeling as you remember these details?
I think I've probably been tugging at Tyler's arm as, trying to not necessarily take over the steering wheel, but at least to get his attention and stop him, or at least make him talk to me, as it seems he's kind of lost in his own thing. But as this sweeps over me, I just slump back in the chair and kind of my hands just slump back in my lap as well, and as I just stare in front of me, I think, and I start to say in a loud voice, not as much to Tyler as to myself. I say, I think they were going to do something else as well. I don't think they were done. But Emma got me out. And I get this really, really strong urge to find Emma and kind of confront her about what happened.
And it says you're dealing with that. Tyler, you do hear all this. You kind of snap back a little, and as you turn back into the parking lot and park, finally the grip begins to leave you again as that voice just says, Plan, just do it! You did this to me, Tyler! You did this to me!
I just need time, Wayne. I just need time. And with that last punctuation mark, maybe it's his name. That's when, like a mental dry heave, coming back to my own senses. And I think there's this moment of just like a millisecond of relief before the rest of my senses catch up and I realize where I am. And I just turn to look at Angelica.
On that note, for the moment, both of you just have a moment to catch your breaths as you are parked back at the church again, but for the moment, that is all. Meanwhile, George, you're there in this strange meeting, and Richard Ward has his hand on your shoulder. You see what I'm getting at, George? You see? It's not your daughter's fault. It's the person who did it to them. But we can find them, George. Do you know how we can find them?
No, I'm not sure. But I suppose we should. We should find them so that they can't do it to other people.
Of course. And, well, Jessica, it's at this point that I think you get what I'm getting at, don't you? I'm sorry, what do you... Come on, I talked to the police chief. Our fine little city hasn't had much of these issues lately. But isn't there a possibility that this could be, well, how many illegal abortionists do you know of these days? Jessica looks at you, George, a bit confused, and you can kind of seeing like, well, that's kind of police matters, Mr. Water. Again! Don't worry, Jessica. George, don't worry, I know. I talked to the chief of police. He comes, well, he didn't come today, but he normally comes. No, I know what's happening. How many is it, George? 2? 2 innocent young girls, scared out of their minds, left to die. Is that the sort of person who's a good person, George? Come on.
No, of course not. Of course not.
So this part's gonna be difficult. I don't think Angelica wants to talk to me. She's lost her way. She doesn't see God anymore, and that's okay. Honest, it is. It's fine. You need to help, George. You as well, Jessica. You as well, Genesis. You gotta get Angelica to tell you where that person is. And then, when you find them, you bring them to me. Jessica, at this point, says, Mr. Ward, with all due respect, it would be a police matter. Don't get me wrong, if she could help us find that person, I'd be happy to get them arrested, but no, you don't, you misunderstand, Jessica. You'd be there, George. When we're done, you can take them to jail. But I want to reach them. George. I know. You're looking at me surprised, aren't you? Admit you're surprised. Why would I want to reach out to this person?
Because you want to help them. You want to help everyone. Bring everyone closer to God, right?
That is correct, George. See? You get me. Jessica, I know this is a little untoward. I get it, but don't worry. That's why I'm bringing you in. I'll let the chief of police know as well. Let's not go down the route of violence and horror. Let's find this person and bring him here. I can talk with them. I can convince them of the error of their ways. I can convince them to confess to everything and come with you legally. And then we can try him in a court of justice, just as the way as God intended. Is that so bad, George?
No, it's not. It's not bad. Not bad at all. I think that would make sense.
It would. So, you help Jessica, and who is that young man with her crotch strapping? A boyfriend, maybe?
That's Tyler, yeah. Something like that.
I see. Young love. That's good, you know. That's how family starts. You go and help them. And you try and find this person. And then you bring him to me, and I will help you. We will help this person, and we'll help Angelica. She'll see that even that person could be forgiven, and then she'll be able to confess her own sins and be forgiven as well. That's what being part of God's family is, George. Forgiveness.
It is. Forgiveness. That's what we all need.
And some doors are opened, and you are allowed to leave, and leave you do. Unless you want to say anything else to Mr. Richard Ward.
No, I'm quite taken aback by this entire situation, and I just need to get out of here. I want to find Angelica. I want to help the pastor, but before that, I just need to get somewhere by myself and drink a bottle of whiskey and just forget about all this, because this is a bit too much for me to handle right now.
And you start leaving the church. Jessica stops you for a moment. George, it still feels a bit weird. What do we do? He has a point, and okay, I admit that if it is them, I want to get them as well, because my whole case file has been trying to find this person. But I don't want to. Why do we need to involve Angelica? Surely we can just ask her some information, and then I can handle it. I don't need you to help. We don't really need the father. I don't get why he needs to do his thing. We should just find them and arrest them.
I mean, yeah, but he represents the community, right? He's the shepherd of the flock. He's just trying to help, you know? I mean, it couldn't hurt, right? I mean, maybe he can use the connections that he has, and they can make it even easier to find these people.
Maybe. You see, Jessica does actually seem very uncertain, but she is listening to you. And Genesis is kind of nodding vigorously, agreeing as well, although she does have her own look of trouble, you notice. You notice then, as you are in the car park, just getting at the car, that... Isn't that Tyler's car? It seems to just... They've come back. Bit strange. But then maybe not. Maybe they just went for a quick drive and they came back. And just as you're noticing that, and Jessica is noticing it as well and starts heading towards the car, you'll just notice behind you a man. A strange bearded man. A man who is in a janitor's uniform. Except, of course, you know exactly who it is. So it's not that strange. It's...
Yeah, that's Mike.
Yeah. He's just come out. What do you do? A lot of things are happening. Which one do you prioritize?
I need to prioritize my daughter, of course. I'll just kind of lift my hand in greeting to Mike. We get along really well, and I mean, I know he doesn't have a lot of people, so, you know, I try to be a friend to him. But I need to make sure that Angelica's all right first. So I'll move towards Tyler's car and see if Angelica's there.
Of course you will, and you'll just see Mike give you this look. A very sad look. And then he kind of turns away because it's Mike. If you don't go and talk to Mike, he's not going to come and bother you. That's not who he is. He probably just had some work to do in the parking lot. Tyler, you've had a few seconds to breathe. You're in control again. But you realise, yes, you've came back to the parking lot, and then you notice that Jessica and George are heading over to your car. What do you do?
First things first, I need to make direct, almost pleading eye contact with Angelica and say, there's a lot that I need and I want to explain to you, and I need you to trust me on that. You can't tell your Genesis, your father, your mother, none of that. Like, I need time.
About what? I think my mom... I think the one that did the abortion... It might be the one she's been looking for all these weeks.
You know what, I'm guessing we're gonna find out real soon, but I mean, the car. What happened in the car and what you heard?
Will you explain to me what happened? Because right now, Tyler, I don't really recognize you.
I promise I will give you all the details as I understand them, but that's not something I can do in the and I'll kind of look over her shoulder, in the 48 seconds we have before your dad gets here.
I reach over and I put a hand on top of your hand that you're probably still clutching the steering wheel or something, and I squeeze it gently and give you a reassuring smile as I start to exit the car.
I will take a small amount of relief in that. It's going to take me a little longer to get out of the car because it's the same instinct as like patting your pockets looking for your keys, but in this case I'm just like giving myself a mental pat down to make sure that my friend isn't piggybacking still. And then I'll hop out of the car as well, and in the most subtle and least offensive way to Angelica possible, when her parents are coming closer, I kind of want to preempt the conversation and say, sorry, George, we just need to get away from that for a little while. I'm sure you understand.
Oh, believe me, I understand. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're back here. We spoke to the pastor, and you know, he explained that he just wants to help us, and that you know, we can all help the community, you know, by making sure that that the person who did the procedure, that they're found and that, you know, they're stopped. I think that might be a good thing to do for the people here.
I'll have walked closer to Angelica at this point, and kind of arriving at her side with my hand on the small of her back, and I'll just ask, is that something that you want to do. I mean, with whatever the rest of us, it doesn't matter. You've been through a lot, and I don't think any of us making like direct eye contact with Genesis, I don't think any of us want to make it any worse. But if you can handle it, then I think your dad's right. We need to find who did this.
Jessica interrupts you just at the end, Tyler, saying quickly with concern, but honey, Tyler, George, I get where you're coming from, but just to clarify, you don't need to do anything, honey. You don't need to do anything. All you need is a little bit of information, and then I can handle it. It doesn't need to be everyone else. I'm still a police officer. Thank you, Tyler, as well. I appreciate help, but you don't need to put yourself in danger.
Mom, stop it. You're rambling. Stop rambling. You know I don't like it when you do that. Listen, I don't remember that much, but I know one thing. And I think they were gonna do something to me. And I'm not sure it was a good thing.
Honey, of course, you get that's why I've been upset, right? I get what you did in itself, that's another thing entirely. The thing I'm upset about is that you went somewhere that you weren't safe.
I'm sorry, Mom. I couldn't stand... What if people from church were outside the abortion clinic even if I had made an appointment with someone that could do it legally? Do you know what that would do to Dad and to Genesis? What if Genesis had been there? She would have been... You would have made a big scene out of it, wouldn't you?
Genesis scrunches her face a little and kind of clenches her fists, and she lets out this long sigh. I had tried to talk you out of it, sis, but I wouldn't throw you to a mob. Is that what Tyler says to you? Is that what Tyler, you telling her that? You telling her I'd throw... Oh, don't trust your sister.
No,
She'd throw you to a fucking mob.
Genesis. You know, I try to talk about you as little as possible. Because when I'm with Angelica, I like her to be happy.
No, I bet you do, Dad. Dad, did you hear? And then Jessica says, Genesis, please. We understand, just please. And Genesis, again, just gives you this look, Tyler, of just anger. Such anger at you, not anyone else. But she does shut up. So let's just go back home. And again, Angelica, it's fine. All we need is some way of how you found this person, and that's all I need. And then George, I don't. She kind of tapers off a little. What do you do, George?
Let's just go home. All of us. It's been a bit much today. I know I for one need just some time to think things through. We can talk about this later. I say, trying to seem as confident and as like the patriarch of the house, the one who takes care of everyone and makes sure that everyone's all right. But inside, I feel a deep despair, and I feel how I am just a fake. I am not in any position to be telling these people what they should be doing. I can barely take care of myself. But I'm trying to just hold on to this lie, and I try to fake myself through this. I just need to get home. I just need to drink, and then it'll all be good. I'll be right again.
Well, George, you start trying to get everyone back in their cars, and Jessica just nods, saying, let's just go home. Genesis sulks. What do you do, Angelica?
I turn to Tyler, and you don't have to come. I understand if it's been a pretty intense day, so I think I will be okay. But I might take you up on that offer of just getting in the car and driving somewhere. I hear Mexico's kind of nice.
Are you sure? No offense to your family, who I mostly think are great, but do you want to be alone with them for what's coming?
We'll meet up later, okay? Yeah, thank you for everything. As I wouldn't be. See if you can get to Emma. Talk to her and see what she knows.
I will, yeah. And I mean, if anything happens at home or the second you're done and you're ready to talk, just text me, yeah?
Yeah, you kind of promised to tell me everything, so I'll hold you to that, okay?
Angelica, it's going to be hard. I'm not going to lie and tell you that it's going to be easy. What I will tell you, though, is that, and then I'll reach out and just kind of take both of her hands into mine. What I will tell you is that it's worth it. Because, look, whatever's coming, if at the end of it, you and I are still, us, that means it's worth it.
And as you're both about to get in different cars, it seems Tyler, I'm assuming, is getting in his own, and Angelica, you're going back with your family. You both notice just as you finish that sentence that there's that man again. You both just look and notice he's quite nearby, just staring at you. And you both notice him. That weird old guy in a janitorial uniform.
Is there a way for me to, without drawing attention, what I would like to do is let Angelica know that I see him and that I might get in the car a little later after having a quiet little talky poo with this man, but doing that in a way that does not draw attention to George or Jessica about like what my plan is.
I will move towards our family car and get out of there. I saw the man as well, didn't I?
You did.
And I can I think I've given Tyler kind of like a look, like there he is again, and then like kind of looking towards my family car, and I'm just giving a slight nod as I walk towards the car.
And so, George, you'll turn and see Angelica coming back to the car. What do? Drive home?
Yeah. We should go. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up.
Indeed, home will be better. Home will be safer. And so, the Cordwell family drive off. And now it's just you, Tyler. Granted, it's not just you. There are other people about. This is a big car park in the middle of the day. But no one's watching you right now. And as you get to your car, you can just see that man sweeping the street. What do?
So I've been fumbling with my keys. Anything that gives the Caldwells time to depart so they can't actually see me. I do not want Genesis looking out the back of the fucking car window and staring at me and then causing more trouble. Once they have departed, and I'm sure they won't have eyes on me, I'm just going to walk deliberately but slowly towards him, following him through the mess of cars and whatnot. And when I get to a place where I can get his attention, maybe raising my voice a little but not yelling, it's going to be I don't want to say aggressive but firm. Excuse me, buddy, got a minute?
The man looks at you, squints, shakes his head. No, kid. Got work to do. No.
Yeah, you got work to do. I'm kind of surprised to see you up here this early, because from what I understand, you work nights?
Yeah. Again, he squints at you and starts slowly ambling his way, heading to the church.
Is it possible for me to put myself between the church and him?
It certainly is. And you do so, and he has to stop.
Yeah, I don't want to be too threatening, but I do want to make clear that we're going to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So look, I'm not really in the mood for any bullshit, and I don't know what's going on here, but I know you've been lurking around the house. I know you were watching us in church, and I know you know something else is going on here. So how about I'll let you get back to work as soon as possible, and in exchange for that, you can cut through the bullshit and tell me what you were doing outside the Caldwell house.
This man looks at you. He squints. He looks concerned. You notice one of his hands starts to shake a little as he clutches at his broom. Could you roll influence other at a -2.
14.
You see him clutch the broom tight, and he starts saying something to himself, saying, "No, kid, no, just kid, just a kid, just a kid. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't know what you're talking about. Caldwell? I know Caldwell, George Caldwell. Good man. Please, I gotta go. I'll be in trouble. I don't want no trouble. We don't want no trouble. We don't want no trouble."
No trouble at all. Just tell me what you were doing and who told you to do it.
What?
You were outside the house. You can either tell me, or maybe we can go get the police involved, have them show up, cause a stir.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to do that to you. I don't want to do that to you. It's not your fault, please. You need to... He clutches the broom, and you feel something. You feel a bit of something behind the broom, and it's weird because this is an old man, right? And yet, you suddenly feel like you just naturally take a step back. It's weird. Why did you do that?
That the similar feeling to what I experienced inside the church?
That you wouldn't know, no.
Okay. But it does feel weird.
It definitely feels weird. Why did you do that? The man starts trying to walk past you, but he does it slowly. No one told me to do nothing. No one tells me to do nothing. No one.
All right. You know what? I have seen enough. I am sorry for bothering you, sir. I'm going to make to move, like, out of his way. Okay, you can go. And then I'm going to keep doing it either until I get the answers I want or something terrible happens to me, which I think is actually the theme of this game. I'm going to try to see through the illusion and see, because I'm expecting to find a really long leash or something on this guy.
Roll to see it through the illusion, yes, as you try to go past this man.
That's a 6.
You attempt to just stare at this man, and as you do so, and he just passes, you just kind of find yourself grabbing him. You didn't mean to do that, but it's almost like you just want to stop him and look at him. And you do, and he looks at you with terror. And then, suddenly, something happens. Something happens, Tyler. Wings spurt forth from this man's back. Great wings. But they are tattered wings, broken wings. You see suddenly a chain around a leg extending back behind him. But worst of all, the man looks at you. The terror he has shrinks away. And you see something glowing, something far greater than you, and you find yourself falling to the ground as you begin to scream, and the man tries to reach for you and calm you, and as he touches you, you just feel in your body like you're being burned, and this entire experience overwhelms you. You lose -2 stability as this being, this holy white being is grabbing you by the hand, and it's burning you. It's burning your very soul, and he knows what you are. He knows what you are, Tyler. He knows what you've done. How do you respond?
Self-preservation kicks in. It doesn't matter if I know what he is or what he represents. Fire hot, right? Fire literally in your soul, hotter, I'm assuming. To say nothing of the lurking background anxiety of Wayne. So all at once, there's the physical pain and the spiritual pain, and then the lurking thing of like, oh my God, if I've seared my mentor out of me with this by exposing to him. And maybe at some future point, this will be a lesson in hubris for young magicians. But for now, I am just scrambling backwards on the pavement, scarring my hands up as animalistic, crawling, scrambling, skittering as far away as my body will let me until the heat stops.
And you run, and you just hear this man calling behind you in a pained voice. "I'm sorry, boy. I'm sorry. And you run. You get into your car and you drive away. And the pain stops, and you look at your arm and there's no fire. You haven't been hurt at all. But the image of something beyond your understanding is seared in your mind as you just drive away as fast as you can from that place.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the scenario Judgment for KULT Divinity Lost. Judgment was written by Matthew Sanderson and was published as part of the Screams and Whispers scenario collection. This scenario has been sponsored by our friends at Helmgast. The music was made by Atrium Corsari, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Ludwig Manford, Bob Lange, Julián, Cameron, Xabier, and Antxon for their generous support. And we'd of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want early access to our content and to hear raw versions of our recordings right after we've done them, or get your name announced as a champion of the Red Moon, do check out our higher level tiers on Patreon. It's a great way to get more Red Moon role-playing in your life and to help us keep the show going. Thank you again for listening, and remember, death is only the beginning.